What's up? Welcome back to the Deep Digger Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host, right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Today we are talking about a whole bunch of stuff. It is football season. It's back. We're fucking hyped. So we're going to be touching base on the aftermath of the Trey Lance trade. The Dallas Cowboys now have their franchise quarterback. Good for them. Clap it up. We're going to be touching base on Jonathan Taylor's situation. We're going to be talking about the final 53-man roster for the San Francisco 49ers. Just a whole bunch of stuff. But before we get into that, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and drop some comments. We love all of that. So be sure to do that. If you're on audio, we have the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, we're on audio. We're on all audio platforms. So show us some love.
Yeah, and just a little quick update. The audio will go back to being the crisp, high-quality audio you're all used to next week. I'm just getting settled into my new place in San Francisco, and I know I forgot my audio box, so the mic situation is rough out here. But we're gonna get back. We're gonna get back to it once the season starts. We're gonna be rolling just like the Niners. So, yeah, maybe I'll do a little room tour at some point in my little basement here.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, as Jim Irsay would say, if I died or you died, it would just keep rolling.
What a quote. Let's just start off with Trey Lance and the Cowboys. A lot of media now, I think, watching from a distance, I kind of was like, immediately my first thought was like, oh, if you thought Brock Purdy had some shit to deal with the media and the fans, like, good luck, Dak Prescott, with Cowboys fans. And if they carry that same hope of Trey Lance being this guy, like the number 3 pick that's going to save your franchise, the media storm is going to be crazy. And it's already kind of starting where people were like, Dak should be worried. This guy's coming to take his job. We had a long, like a 5-minute interview session of Jerry Jones saying outlandish shit, like he's going to help us this year. Did you watch that video I sent you?
It was 9 minutes. It wasn't 5 minutes.
Oh
it
my,
was 9.
He's like contradicting himself. Like, oh, I wanted him, so I said, let's get it done. Like all kinds of stuff. If you guys haven't seen it, check out that video. But what are your thoughts on what's kind of going on in Dallas right now with Trey Lance?
I think this is an unintended consequence. I don't think anyone really understood the magnitude of, like, I mean, how could you? Only 49er fans really knew the like media circus around the whole Trey Lance thing. I think as the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think Jerry Jones is very much on Twitter. I don't think he's very much just kind of in the ether. And so when you acquire this guy, there's a lot of baggage that comes with it. And it's not even his fault. It's literally just the fans. And so you're starting to see the over-analyzation of Dak Prescott, the over-analyzation of what Mike McCarthy is going to say, what Jerry Jones has said, what Dak Prescott has said. And it does like kind of raise some red flags when you hear Jerry Jones was like, yeah, we didn't even tell Dak. We didn't tell Mike. We just had to get this done. We were literally sitting there. They were telling us that he was going to get traded. And I just couldn't let them off the phone. I needed to have this guy. And when you think about it, like a 4th-round pick, it's not that much for a guy who they, I guess, liked. But how seriously did they evaluate him? Really, I'm not really sure. I think it's good. They're going to start to see it's going to be a big distraction for the number 3 quarterback to have just that much buzz around the team.
Yeah, it's almost like I know we're going to talk a little bit at Swamp Kings later, but when Tim Tebow was a backup quarterback and no one wanted to touch him, or like even a Kaepernick, it's like, do you really want your backup or even 3rd-string quarterback to have that much media pool or that much fans kind of calling for them to play?
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, you know, that meme where it was like, I told her I wanted 2K, and it's the WWE 2K. Like, that's what it's like. It's like, all right, Jerry made this big move. He didn't console Dak. He didn't go out and be like, hey, Mike, what do you think? And he just got this for them when I think they felt pretty good about the QB room there. It was Cooper Rush and Will Grier. And even after they had to cut Will Grier, Mike McCarthy was like, "I hope we get him back. We need 4 QBs in this building. They don't need 4 QBs. I just don't think maybe Mike McCarthy's not really that much sold on Trey Lance. I think he really did like Will Grier. He put on a showcase. So it kind of feels like the unwanted gift, but we'll see how they handle it.
I mean, it's definitely a Jerry Jones, big name publicity move. Like, I think he's been pretty restrained in the past couple years of, oh, I want this guy. We have to have him, get him on the team. I mean, I'm not following Cowboys as closely as maybe some of the fans, but if that was the case, Johnny Manziel would have had a completely different career and he'd be in Dallas. He would have been in Dallas. But yeah, this felt weird. Like Jerry Jones being like, yeah, we're making the move, give them whatever they want. I mean, the market for Trey Lance was like a 6th, 7th round pick, supposedly, and now gave up a 4th. Any truth to Dak Prescott should be worried for his job?
Hell no. What do you mean? Like, Dak makes just too much money. When you're in that caliber of quarterback, you're gonna have to ride it out regardless. So it's not like he's on a team-friendly deal. It's not like he's, just one of the mid-tier quarterbacks. It's not like he's Marcus Mariota last year, where it was
he's not 36. Like,
yeah,
the Jerry Jones interview thing was so weird where he's like, yeah, he's going to help us this year. And they're like, how's he going to help us? And he goes, well, he's not going to play. And then he's like, yeah, in the future, we want to make sure we have a young quarterback. So we're settled for the future. I'm like, bro, by the time, like in this day and age where quarterbacks are playing into their late 30s, I know Dak has some injuries, but is he going to be done in time for Trey Lance to be able to like take the mantle?
And I know that's what they were saying. Like, hey, he's masterminding it. He's really gearing up because Dak Prescott is going to be making more money off this next. Well, of course he is. If he's the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, he's going to be making a shit ton of money. If he just maintains the level of play that he has, maybe they do finally get over the hump and beat the 49ers, and then you have to pay him a boatload of money. But like, hey, that's rich people problems. You just got to do it. I don't think he's really gearing up, especially if Trey's the 3rd string quarterback. Like right now, he's the 3rd string quarterback.
Trey couldn't beat Sam Darnold for a job, and like fans are like, ooh, we got one here. We got a quarterback that's gonna challenge Dak and take his job. And it's like he would have been the 4th quarterback on the 49ers.
He would have been the 4th on the Cowboys.
If they bring back Will Grier,
if they didn't give up a 4th round pick, if he was just, Trey Jones, just some random guy on their roster, he would have been the 4th guy.
What was weird to me in that final thought on the Jerry Jones thing, how he was adamant about bringing up that he really wanted Jalen Hurts. Did you catch that? He's like so fucking hurt that they didn't get Jalen Hurts. He brings it up every draft. He's like, well, if you guys would have listened to me,
I would have done it. I would have pulled the trigger on my guy. We would have
had that little Philadelphia quarterback.
But it does it does open my eyes. Like Jerry's getting old. Like he's getting old. So all he wants to do is see this team win. I just don't know if his like moves are equaling up to like his desire.
Any stock into they traded for Trey Lance to get the 49ers playbook?
I mean, it could be like at least a little bit more insight. The guy was in the fucking offense for 3 off seasons, so he has to at least know something. So yeah, as soon as he gets there, you pick his brain, you have a debrief. You're like, hey, tell us everything you remember. Like, let's go through like what were the plays that you liked? What were the most common things that you would do? I'm sure they did have to debrief and like really understand the opponent because again, he was in the Shanahan offense for 3 off seasons. Like you got to take some stock into that.
Well, my take on that was, well, if you got him to give you all the insight on the full Shanahan offense, you got the wrong guy because this guy He
Yeah,
ran
we
a
run QB
fraction.
power.
Oh man, I wonder, are there any Trey Lance diehards still rocking with the Niners right now? Because I don't want to
They
get
all moved to the Cowboys.
I don't want to get burned off of kind of clowning on Trey Lance a little bit. Nick Bosa back
Ugh.
back in the news. Rumor earlier in the week that he's gonna get traded. There's an AFC team. They want him. The deal's basically in place.
Hey. Whoa. Credit your source.
Reddit user.
Reddit user Josh Rosen.
Yeah. The guy that came up with the he had the McCaffrey to the Niners trade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe this guy's in the front office on incognito mode with Reddit open. So rumors that Nick Bosa from Reddit user getting traded to the AFC, and then another rumor, deals getting done in a few days, which I think is more credible because why the fuck would you trade Nick Bosa ever?
All right. So I actually think there's a little bit of legs on this. If you are an AFC team that is like somewhat in contention, you have to give a call. You have to be like, hey, things are getting weird with Bosa. What's up? Like, what would it take to really get this guy on our squad? So yeah, you're always throwing out feelers across the league, especially when it's a high caliber player like Bosa. And it seemed like it was leaking out, like a couple of reports here, a couple of reports there, that they're not talking, or oh, now they are talking, but they're so far away from each other, and Bosa's not budging. So it's like, all right, well, we'll budge for this guy. What's up? Like, what is it going to take to really get this guy on our squad? I'm sure you have that call.
Well, yeah, the call is there, but if you're the 49ers, there's no chance that you're seriously considering moving him. Like, you don't have anyone else on the D line who could come close to his level. I mean, he just won Defensive Player of the Year. You don't trade guys like that.
Like, I think that's more of where it was coming from. Like, oh, they're considering. Yeah, we had to talk about it because we had this call with GMX from the Titans. We had to field this call from the Browns. Like, yeah, we had to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. But no, I think their primary goal is let's get Nick Bosa signed. Do you think it was they scrambled after that like post kind of went a little bit viral, and they were like, oh shit, just get it out there. We're gonna get this done within the next few days.
Yeah, they had to let him know. Like, don't worry, we're gonna pay him. Because that's what everyone's complaining, that, oh, the Niners don't want to pay him. But like, this guy's got to be asking for a fuck ton of money, right?
I mean, but he's deserves it. Like, what do you think he's asking? Like, at the end of the day, like, is he asking to be the number one like player paid besides quarterback? Let's take quarterback out of the equation here. Is that what he's asking for? Like, regardless of position, I am the most valuable player on this team.
That's the thing, though. If he is, then like, give it to him. But I think it's by how much. Like, how high do you want to go here? I feel like it's just a deal of, hey, who's the highest player? Let's give you an extra $1 million, and then let's walk away. But let's structure it so that we're not screwed in like 6 years, and we can still build the defense around you.
So I think the highest paid defensive player is his brother.
Yeah.
But his brother signed what, like 2 years ago now? So it's like 1 million ain't gonna cut it. Like, what the fuck? Inflation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the logistics of it, but just pay the guy. We seen don't trade him. We seen how Khalil Mack and the Raiders, how that went down. No matter
great,
what,
right? Didn't they make the Super Bowl?
For both sides, really worked out. No, we can't even play that game. It's just like, at the end of the day,
what would it take?
You have a star player.
What do you consider if like they're making the call? They're like, Andrew, all of a sudden, you are the GM of the 49ers. What's it going to take for us to get Bosa?
I mean, let me pull up Madden and see what trade works. You definitely need like maybe not superstar level D end, but you need a star level D end back in the trade, and you're gonna need like 2 firsts. Like, this guy is top 3 defense players in the league. There's no way you could give him up for just picks or just player for player.
What if the Cowboys were like, hey, this Trey Lance deal was just like the, icing on the cake. Like
We're
we
just
just
breaking
wanted to
bread.
get a feeler. We'll give you Micah Parsons and a second round pick.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. Done. Imagine there's a world where this is kind of sets what should have happened back in that draft. Niners could have just drafted Micah Parsons, and then we would have been right here. Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons on the same team.
And then you would have traded Bosa, apparently.
Yeah, then you would have been cool with like, hey, we got a few years out of both of these guys dominating. Let's only pay one.
Do you think it's so crazy how like different approaches it is, or it feels the Bosa trade contract or the Bosa contract talks versus what we went through last year with Deebo Samuel?
I think the only difference is we haven't got to that point yet with Nick where the media is coming into play. And I think we're dangerously close to that.
But like we're way later than what happened with Deebo. It was like immediately Deebo was like, I don't want to fucking be here.
Well,
like,
wide receiver, a little flashier,
Yeah, but I don't know. I think
Nick tried it with the posting that he's in New York. He kind of started to go down that path.
But everyone was then taking it as like, oh, his agent is there. A deal's going to get done. Like, I think that spun it that way. Like, oh, shit, his agent is in New York. They're there. They're probably going to sign within the next few hours. And then everyone waited. And it was like, oh, okay. That didn't happen. But Deebo Samuel, it was just such a completely different experience. It felt like way more urgent with Deebo, whereas with Nick, it feels like, oh, it's going to get done.
Well,
it's going to get done.
I mean, I guarantee there's an offer on the table that 49ers feel confident in, and they're just waiting for Bosa to be like, all right, I got to play week 1, so, like, let's sign that deal. But he doesn't.
Like, if I'm him, I wouldn't. If they're, like...
I don't think he's built that way. I think he's
drastically... No, they are built that way. The Bosas are fucking built that way, dude. Especially considering they had an NFL dad who felt like he got screwed over during his career. So,
but how are you thinking you're getting screwed over if you're becoming the highest paid player in the league? Like, bro, I mean, we don't know. We're just speculating here. But if he's anything less than the highest paid right now, offer on the table, like, how greedy are you? Like, the old pigs get fed,
bro.
Like, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered kind of thing.
Highest paid in guaranteed money was 3 years ago, and I just won defensive player of the year. Fucking add 30 mil on top of that. Like,
they got a lot of star players, man. I mean, we got to build out the roster.
That's not my problem.
We got a superstar quarterback.
Besides quarterback, I am the most I'm the most valuable player on this team.
We got to pay Ayuk. We got a superstar quarterback in Brock Purdy in a couple years.
That's not my problem. That's not my problem.
McCaffrey eats up a lot of our cap.
That's not my problem.
We got Jake Moody's going to need a monster contract in a few years.
Are they going to have to sign Robbie Gould back?
Yeah, dude, the whole Bosa contract's falling apart because of Robbie Gould.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, let's kind of pivot into someone else with a weird contract situation. Jonathan Taylor. Supposedly, Irsay put a deadline on a trade that never happened, and it was just like a weird made-up deadline. But it was like the deadline where they had to put him on the. Did they put him on the PUP?
Yeah, they put him on PUP.
Yeah. So, is he gonna play this year? I was in the mindset like, there's no way he's gonna sit out, and now he's like, oh yeah, my ankle hurts. I'm not gonna play.
My back.
He did get ankle surgery a while ago, though. Like, I think February.
I mean, he has to. So the thing I learned was you can miss games, but once it hits week 9, you have to be playing for the team. Otherwise, it doesn't count as a year under your contract. So that's why Chris Jones was like, I'll see you guys in fucking week 8. Like, I have no problem with this. Like, he's gonna miss games. I think Jonathan Taylor, like, he doesn't have any legs to stand on with this whole argument. He's under his rookie deal. He's not Josh Jacobs, where Josh Jacobs just refused to sign the franchise tag until a few days ago. He's not Saquon Barkley, who could have refused to sign the franchise tag. Jonathan Taylor is under contract. He's under his rookie deal. What is he going to do? Just sit out? They're still going to have your rights next year.
And you know what? This argument would have had legs if all the running backs stood together and held out. And I mean, they just got cut out from under him when Barkley goes back on a not great deal. Josh Jacobs goes back. Now what is he supposed to do? He's kind of the only one at the picket line right now.
Yeah, they like had this call to rally together and figure out how they can make more money. And literally everybody on the call settled. Except for Jonathan Taylor, the one who had the least amount of leverage. So they did leave him out to dry on this situation. And I know that there were trade talks with the Dolphins, but apparently the Colts were being unreasonable with their asking for way too much, and they just didn't meet anywhere in the middle. Because why would you? You're like, we like this guy. He's literally under contract with us. What is he going to do? Sit out? Okay, we'll see you next year, buddy. Like, as the Colts, we're not in a rush to win. Like, we're not in a win now position. We have a rookie quarterback. If we suck this year, it's okay. We'll take a top pick next year. We'll build around Anthony Richardson, and that's fine. We'll have him develop. So it's not like he is even on a team where it makes sense. If he were the number one weapon on the 49ers, for instance, where they're win now, like, let's get after it. Again, like this Nick Bosa thing. Nick Bosa, you do have the urgency. We need this guy. He's the most valuable player on our team. Just sign him. You don't have that with Jonathan Taylor. Even the owner's like, whatever, cool with me.
Yeah, like it sucks seeing the running back position so devalued, especially like Jonathan Taylor is easily top 3 running back in the league, arguably the best running back in the league. And the Colts are like, yeah, we'll just roll out with, like, who's the guy? I just picked him in fantasy. Deion Jackson. That's going to be our starting running back this year. And it's like, I guess our rookie quarterback is going to have, like, some guy that barely played last year as his guy.
But look at Le'Veon Bell does it, right? The guy who picked up the slack for him, it was kind of the same thing. It was like, okay, who the fuck is this rando that's just going to play? Eventually, they're going to need me back, right? Well, that guy was fucking James Conner. And James Conner balled out. And so it's like, this guy can step up for Jonathan Taylor. Like, it's just one of those things. You can find good running backs in the mid to late rounds. You can find undrafted free agents. You can find veterans that, hey, you know what? We just kind of need someone to plug and play. Like, so it is one of those things like, Jonathan, you're probably just better off being here.
Yeah, because it is like, can you go to any running back room in the league right now and pick their 3rd or 4th guy and be like, can you run for us for 6 games as our bell cow?
Yeah, you think Jordan Mason, if like the 49ers called him up and like, hey, do you want Jordan Mason? We'll take a 2nd round pick for him. Colts might do it. Like, hey, fuck it.
And I seen kind of rumors around there that Kareem Hunt might go to the Colts. So something interesting there to keep an eye out. I mean, I was thinking about stashing him in fantasy too. So something we'll keep an eye on. Yeah, it's a weird situation. We'll see. We'll keep you guys updated. But
how about this? The mystery team. So apparently there was a mystery team bidding against the Dolphins for Jonathan Taylor. Turns out that was the Packers.
Weird fit. Unless you're trading them AJ Dillon or something.
Yeah, like I think they're just kind of done with AJ Dillon, right? Or are they done with Aaron Jones? I figured they'd like Aaron Jones a little bit more, but hey, who knows?
I mean, they could have gotten a receiver, but they drafted AJ Dillon, so
yeah.
I mean, the star running back. Hold on. Well, before wrapping this up, who was the person? Okay, who was the person that was saying the 49ers should trade for Jonathan Taylor? I remember I texted you. Hold
He
on,
was
hold
on with
on.
Haberman, right?
Yeah, he was on with Haberman. I don't want to trash this guy, but I might have to a little bit on this take. Larry Krueger. I'm sure we got Larry Krueger fans on here, but like to say, oh yeah, 49ers just trade for Jonathan Taylor when we have McCaffrey and we don't have money. And he said, okay, he said trade Trey Lance to the Bucks for a second round pick. There's no way any team was giving nearly a second round pick. I mean, fourth round pick was like, oh my God, did the 49ers win this trade? And trade him to a second round pick and then trade that second round pick to the Colts for Jonathan Taylor. One, no one's giving up a second for Trey. No one did give up a second for Trey. Two, are the Colts going to trade Jonathan Taylor for a second round pick?
No.
Three, we can't afford Jonathan Taylor. We already have a star running back. We're stacked with talent. Like, why are we going to do that move? Any reason we should make that trade other than keep him away from other teams and like kind of hoard the best players in the league?
All right, watching the last preseason game, I was kind of on board. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Especially after Jordan Mason fumbled in the end zone. It's like, all right, well, what is the depth at running back for the 49ers? Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Ghost Mitchell, who's just never there. Is he ever going to fucking play or what, dude? So, like, he's just never available. Jordan Mason, who's had fumbling problems in camp, fumbled on Saturday, was it Saturday, Friday? Fumbled on Friday. And then who's behind it? Oh, Ty Davis Price, who's a liability in pass coverage. So it's like there's not a whole lot of depth there. If Elijah Mitchell does play, yeah, he's a viable option. I just can't trust him to be on the field.
So you're saying, as an insurance, we should trade for one of the best 3 running backs in the league to be our backup running back, or put McCaffrey as the backup?
I would make him the backup. I'd make Jonathan Taylor the backup. He's on a fucking rookie deal.
He's not gonna play. He's not gonna come here and be the backup and be like.
Yeah, but I was thinking like they should start looking around at other running back options, just because. Yeah, Elijah Mitchell don't play. Jordan Mason has his flaws. Ty Davis Price has his flaws. So they should be looking outwards.
Yeah, I'm not a big TDP guy. I think Jordan Mason has something to him, but I think another team who is,
towards just let him run.
Yeah, just let him kind of eat, and he could really be something there. And Elijah Mitchell, I think there's still enough like juice to him where we can maybe get some good trade compensation back before we kind of just give up on him. So I think there is room to kind of move these guys and get someone solid in our number 2 spot, but it's not going to be Jonathan Taylor. I'll tell you that right now.
Would be nice.
Were you able to watch any of the Swamp Kings documentary?
Yes, I was able to.
Florida Gators. I watched the first episode. I like it so far, but I've heard that it's not what we were expected.
No, I mean, it doesn't really go in depth. They mentioned Cam Newton literally one time. That's it. They don't mention him getting kicked out, him going to Auburn, nothing like that. They mentioned Aaron Hernandez one time. He got into a bar fight when Team Tebow was there. And all right, so the one thing I liked about it is, of course, like revisiting that era of football, of college football specifically, where everything felt so much bigger. Everything was maybe, I don't know, maybe just looking back at it, that's how I feel about it. But it was just awesome. So it was awesome to relive some of those games, some of those moments. Tim Tebow comes out awesome. Like, he's just such a genuinely good dude. And you do just want him to succeed. So that was cool to see. But yeah, it just wasn't as hard hitting as I expected when you're saying these are the untold stories of the Florida Gators that had the Pouncey twins, a murderer,
Riley Cooper,
a racist wide receiver, and then a quarterback that's probably one of the most polarizing figures in all of sports in the last 30 years. So it just wasn't the hard hitting. And a guy who was exposed last year as just being a complete piece of shit. And everyone kind of knew he was a piece of shit, but he was just overexposed last year or
He
2 years
kicked a
ago.
player.
Yeah. So I was expecting way, way more out of it. It was cool. If you just didn't know anything about like the scenario and you're going in blind, you're like, that Urban Meyer, he's
And
a good
you're
guy.
like, you watch it, you don't know anything about sports. You watch it, and you're like, and they all lived happily ever after. Like, they all went on to have successful and prosperous careers. Nothing bad ever happened to them.
You know that meme that goes around? It's like, and I'm hopeful. Yes, I am.
They should have did that at the end. It's like Aaron Hernandez charged with murder. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna keep watching it, but the first episode was cool. Just kind of just living in the moment of back then. Tim Tebow coming in was sick. That was so cool. And I think he started to kind of touch on the locker room was a little toxic, but then they immediately like get away from that. Because there's a moment where they're doing the crawl drill, or maybe they're like working out at like 12 a.m. that thing, where Tebow's like, yeah, if you didn't do well, you got embarrassed, and some people we went too far. And then it's like, and now let's go back to having a good time. And it's like, wait, what do you mean?
Like in the last episode, they do start to talk about like how it ended up being a divided locker room between Tim Tebow going against Brandon Spikes at one point, because like, and Urban Meyer just happens to, I blame myself. I work too hard. I care too much. Like, that's basically what he says. He's like, oh, Brandon was just imitating me and I just want to be perfect. And I was like, all right, whatever, dude.
Yeah, you guys let us know in the comments. Do you guys like it? Do you guys want to see some more of the kind of sketchy stuff that happened? I thought we were gonna get like such a look into some wild stories. And then the fact they had Chris Rainey in it, right?
Yeah.
And never mentioned the abuse.
He hold on, what were we gonna say? Never mentioned what?
Didn't he like have a domestic abuse? Or he texted his girlfriend that he's gonna kill her, and then Urban Meyer like covered it up.
They mentioned one other player that had a domestic dispute who ended up he kicked off the team. But Rainey, they didn't, and they mentioned like, oh yeah, like the Florida police, like, or the police in Gainesville just really kind of, let things gloss over because like, the University of Florida is making everybody fucking money over here. So let's just keep it as is. But Chris Rainey actually had a pretty powerful segment where he's talking about like how he was born in prison and how he didn't know his father or his mother. And then like how that's how he became close with Urban Meyer, because Urban would have him over. So like, that was cool. Like, just to gain that insight.
Yeah. So Chris Rainey, if first thing that pops up, he was arrested. He texted his girlfriend time to DIE. I don't want to say it because I think I'm realizing that we're going to get taken down off YouTube. I don't know how those whole censor things works, but I see people cross it out every time. So I'm just going to not say it.
Yeah. So they mentioned it very briefly that the police cover things up, that the program covered things up, but they just don't get into it.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe there's something better on YouTube that we can watch and kind of get more of the breakdown. I'm sure there's like a Flemlo video on it or something.
There's just a real Gator fan in there.
You want to kind of give your thoughts on this final roster for the 49ers?
Yeah. So cuts happen today. Things are always moving around, fluid. I'm feeling all right, wide receiver. That's the first position that really does stick out to me. It's Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, and Ronnie Bell are the 4 active and healthy wide receivers on the team. So Ronnie Bell's immediately stepping in, and he's going to have a big role in week 1. Let's say even one of these guys goes down, or hey, like he's just going to see the field a lot because there's only 4 wide receivers. So that's like what really kind of stuck out to me. Marcelino McCrary Ball didn't make the roster and ended up getting picked up by the Jets. That's awesome for the Jets, but man, I really liked him. But
I mean, he had a lot of hype from fans, like from last year's preseason, that this guy was going to be the next big thing. But those rookie linebackers, man,
yeah, they came through and they look good.
Talk about earning your spot. Like they literally took jobs from people.
Yeah. Another guy who made the roster that I was a little bit surprised about was Braden Willis. I wasn't sure that they were going to keep 4 tight ends.
Yeah, 4 tight ends.
And they stashed Cameron Latu, who didn't have a great camp, on the IR. So that's cool. Actually, really surprised by that. Jack Coletto, our big practice squad signing.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
Jason Poe, did he make the practice squad?
I didn't see his name, but maybe he did.
Something a little surprising. Kerry Hyder for me didn't make the team. So we kept, I don't know how many D linemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like 9. Kalia Davis makes the team. Robert Beal, I was expecting him to make the team, so that's really good. But yeah, Austin Bryant, Kerry Hyder, T.Y. McGill, some of the bigger name guys on the defensive line that just didn't make the cut. I mean, you'd expect Kerry Hyder to contribute. This linebacker position, Oren Burks, I heard rumblings that he was going to get cut to save a little bit of cap because now we have those rookie linebackers in Winters and Graham, but he makes the team. He's safe, which I think would have been.
I think he's just too good. Like he is a perennial, like always around the ball guy on special teams. He can actually get in a game and play up to an NFL level standard. So I feel really good about that. Are you surprised Ambry Thomas made it?
No, I think I think the reason he made it is because it's between him and Sam Womack for that nickel spot. I think Ambry has shown that he can get in there. He's pretty decent. Isaiah Oliver, I think, has been not what we expected. And so now it turns to, is it going to be Sam Womack or Ambry Thomas in that nickel spot? And either one I'd be cool with, honestly, because Sam Womack, we've seen flashes in preseason. Ambry, I think it was a weird situation. He gets the rug pulled from him after was it his rookie season?
Yep.
As a starter and looking actually pretty good on a playoff run. Someone I was surprised cut from the corner room was Deshaun Jameson because has some good return skills, but I mean, we have Ronnie Bell for that now. I'm glad Quantrez Knight made the practice squad.
Yeah.
And as far as the safeties, no surprise there. We kept the main 4, Ufunga Gibson, Jair Brown, and Odom. We didn't really have anyone that I felt good about to keep around extra for that. Are you a little bit worried about kind of an injury-prone secondary there and not really having a lot of depth?
Kind of, but I feel like once they get Bosa back, that defensive front and linebacking core is going to be so good. All you have to do in the secondary is just hold on. You know what I mean? You just have to hold on and just make sure they don't take the top off you. So I think I'm fine with that as of right now. And you're right. I think Ambry Thomas was a guy, if you were to like backtrack to before the offseason and like, let's say they just signed Isaiah Oliver, you're looking at all these guys and you're like, Ambry Thomas is probably going to get cut.
We said that. Yeah, we said that.
Yeah, Ambry Thomas is probably going to get cut. But he actually did look really good this offseason than this preseason. So I'm excited. If he does end up winning that nickel spot, that's such a redemption arc for him.
Yeah. It's that cornerback room is wide open other than Chark Ward or Travarius Ward.
Yep.
Like anything I think could happen if Demo Lenore starts struggling. I wouldn't be surprised if Womack or Ambry gets thrown out there, and then we're kind of seeing a battle. Like it's all season, it's gonna be a battle. And then even Daryl Luter got put on the PUP list, who could come into play later in the season. So I think it's sneaky deeper than what it looks. just right off the bat, but hopefully we get some good production out of these guys because we definitely didn't invest correctly in that Isaiah Oliver so far. It
Yeah,
looks
and who
like.
knows? Maybe he turns it around once he actually sees, viable NFL games. He's like, yeah, you know what? I always take the preseason off. You know what I mean? But who knows?
I mean,
Maybe
I
it was
think
just a whiff.
can we hopefully at the end of the season we're looking back and like, okay, Demo Lenore is our next Emmanuel Mosley, like a solid starter who's gonna like hold down his side of the field. And I mean, if he isn't, and we all these guys are kind of mid-level, Bradley Roby just got cut, so someone to keep an eye on if we had the money for him or Robbie Gold.
Yeah, and I just think like cornerback, there's a lot of viable options out there. So I'd be fine with it,
Yeah.
And again, your defensive front is so good. You don't need superstars.
No.
You don't need superstars. All you need is one guy to take on the offense's number one, and then that's it. The rest of the back half of the defense just can again hold out. Don't get beat deep. That's it.
All right, that's all we have other than our newest segment of the show. We have every week during the NFL season on Sundays, we're going to be releasing our Deep Dig Disco. Disco is short for Discovery, where we're going to be just sharing anything about movies, music, shows, anything, literally articles, literally could be anything that we discovered that week. We're going to share it with you guys. So, how you feeling about this new segment?
I love it, dude. I mean, obviously, we're sports guys through and through. We love this shit, but I'm watching other stuff during the week too. I gotta keep up with my shows. I gotta keep up with my music. I gotta keep up with just funny segments on YouTube.
Yeah. So, do you want to go? You want me to start? What we got for this week?
You can go ahead and kick off.
All right. Mine's a little bit out there. It's gonna take a certain audience to appreciate this one, but the Meg 2 is out in theaters now. Now I haven't seen it yet, but I plan to go see it this weekend. I'm just going off of the Meg, Jason Statham versus a shark. Chef kiss. Great movie. I'm gonna go get a couple cocktails, maybe get some medicine in me. Just go enjoy a really we're back to peak cinema. It was Top Gun Maverick. This is this year's Top Gun Maverick. Giant shark. Maybe there's two sharks. I don't remember the trailer, but you can't go wrong with the Jason Statham action-packed film. And then you add in sharks. That's a combination to win a title right there.
I'm all for it. I actually really liked the first one. I mean, it's just a fun ride. You know what I mean? You just need something every once in a while just to turn your brain off and be like, let's do it. Explosions, natural disaster. Let's get after it.
I kind of want to go to like the Alamo Draft House and get some pizza and get some cocktails, get some drinks going.
Hell
really
yeah.
make a night of it. Make it an event.
Yep, I feel it. All right, so my disco is a music artist that's actually pretty big, but I've never heard his music until like a week ago. And me and my fiance are going to go see him in Bakersfield now because she's a huge fan. It's Jelly Roll. I don't know if have you heard him? Jelly Roll, country singer. He's actually on tour with 3-6 Mafia. So yeah.
Country with 3-6 Mafia?
He's like a new wave country where it's like he's singing, but there's some 808s in the background. It's pretty good. So I would check it out. It's a lot of his songs, you just vibing, you're just feeling it, And so I'm really excited to go see him with 3-6 Mafia. I think it's going to be a really fun time in Bakersfield. So check him out if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts because I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's all we got for the disco. I will throw one more out there, just a little bonus nugget for you anime nerds. So if you're not a nerd like me, turn off now. That new show Zom 100, great animation. Stylistically, it's a throws some different stuff at you. It's basically like this guy fucking hates his life working at some company, works a 9 to 5, overworked, zombie apocalypse happened, and he's like, fuck yeah, I don't gotta go to work anymore. So I mean, I can relate. If something happened where like I don't have to do shit anymore, I'm with it. So really funny show, really cool. Highly recommend. Some good anime.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that was the disco. We're going to be doing this every week. Go ahead and drop some comments. Let us know what you're doing this week besides, watching some college football. And be sure to like and subscribe.
See ya.
Later.